You have 5
minutes. I want to quote something Michael Noonan said this morning. We should not see ourselves through the eyes of our detractors, those who would paint a cartoonish and negative image of Ireland. I want to say something that I've repeatedly said in this House. I object to Ireland being passed on to us as if we're all just one big, homogenous, happy family. We are not. There are very many competing interests in this country which indicate a different kind of Ireland for very many different people. And when the previous speaker and others throughout the day talk about we have to look after our own, they are going after this country, you want to really think about the language you're using, because you're not speaking for me, you are not speaking for my constituency, and you are certainly not speaking for tens of thousands of people in this country who've been impoverished, who've been made homeless, who've had their pay slashed, who are lying on trolleys tonight, who will have to suffer all of the consequences of both austerity, inequality and division in this country that you guys keep telling us we're all in this together. We are not. We are not in this together, and this ruling and your reaction to it, your government's reaction to it, shows precisely how and why we are not in this together. Go out there today and ask any man, woman or anybody on the street if they think it's a good idea that the Irish state, the people of Ireland, should take what's owed to them in taxes. At least 13 billion, possibly 19 when you add on the interest. And then think about this year and next year and the following year what may be owed to us in taxes in reality by corporations who are paying the lowest, one of the lowest corporation taxes in Europe. This is about having paid zilch taxes for years under a sweetheart deal made with none other than Mr Chavez shirts Charlie Haughey in the bad old days. But the bad old days were perpetuated and maintained by the current government and the previous government. Everybody turned a blind eye to it, and everybody is saying it's because of jobs. Well, let me just give a couple of figures about jobs, and we've worked this out. €1 billion would create 10,000 jobs on a decent wage, allowing for 100 grand per job. That's allowing for what the employer has to pay and what the worker has to pay. Imagine the number of nurses, teachers, physiotherapists, any amount of people who help with speech therapy, social issues, working with travellers and special education. Imagine the social good that that could do. That's just 1 billion. 89,000 houses could be built with the 13 billion that Apple owes, never mind the interest. There is so much use that this money could be put to in such a country of dire need. But clearly what's going on here is that there's a policy, a very right-wing policy, and a very right-wing choice being made. We will defend Apple on the premise of lies, lies, lies. We're looking after jobs. No, you're not. You're looking after the rich at the expense of everybody else. And that, in case you haven't noticed, is not just particular to Ireland. The recent Panama Papers showed that there are $23 trillion currently lying invested offshore without paying a single penny on tax. And that is why 20% of the world will go to bed hungry tonight. More than 30% of children in the world don't have access to clean water or to proper medication for very basic illnesses. And if you think that Ireland is not contributing to that, then think again. We are actually leading the way by defending Apple in this case in perpetuating a world of huge and gross and disgusting inequality. The last thing I want to point out, and by way of asking a few questions to the government, is didn't Minister Noonan and the Taoiseach have many, many meetings with those representing the vulture funds to inform them of Section 110, where they could gain by not paying tax in this country and thereby attracting them to come in and invest here? They had about at least 8 meetings that Minister Noonan was present at, 60-odd with the Department of Finance. Now, did you advise them to come into this country on the basis of taking advantage of Section 110? And if you didn't, why didn't you? And if you didn't and they took advantage of it, how come you didn't notice? Because I want to argue that this, magnanimous deal by the government to cancel the Section 110 is really a trying to cover up that mistake quick and perpetuate the other mistakes, because what they're actually doing is lying to us that they are not constantly and with every inch and ounce of energy that they have inviting in multinationals and global corporations on a free holiday in this country. It's going on all the time, and I think the question of the meetings that Noonan and the Taoiseach had with the vulture funds inviting them to partake of the facilities of Section 110 need to be really queried and looked at. And this evening, I think we should ask very many questions about that, because it's an indicator that this isn't about, oh, poor old Ireland is being attacked by the EU. The EU are really bullying the people, but when it comes to bullying the rich, you won't take it. You let them bully us on their water charges, you let them bully us on austerity, but you won't take it when they try to bully the rich, and that's what's really going on.
Thank you, Deputy.